up everyone? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well today. As you guys can tell by today's video title today, we are going to be following Ariana Grande's makeup routine from the Beauty Secrets series on the Vogue channel. I've actually done quite a few videos like this in the past a long time ago, so if you guys want to check those out, I'll link them in the eye. I think last time I did like Doja Cat's makeup or something. But as I'm filming this right now, yesterday the Vogue beauty channel just posted a new video with Ariana Grande, and honestly I watched the whole thing. Right away I knew I wanted to do a video on it and follow her routine and just basically see what happens. Also, I just want to mention in my video I'm not going to be using the same products as she did in her video, just because I feel like I would have spent so much money buying all the stuff that she was using and pretty much just trying to recreate the same look she did with things that I already own slash a lot of like drugstore products instead. So if you guys liked her makeup but you don't want to splurge the cash on all the products that she used, I hope you guys can just follow along with me and just use whatever you have laying around. So I guess without further ado, let's get straight into it. Alright guys, so the first step that Ariana does is she does all of her skincare, which I've already done before I started filming, just to kind of make this video a little bit shorter. I've applied a moisturizer as well as sunscreen because that's what she does. She also went in with some like eye patches, but I just skipped that step. And we're now going to be moving straight into the foundation. So for my everyday foundation recently, I've been really loving the Laura Mercier one, so that's what I'm going to use today. Obviously in the video, Ariana uses a lot of her own products from her own brand, Rem Beauty. Now I have done a whole dedicated video to that brand, like when it first came out, so if you guys haven't seen that, I'll link it in the eye. I don't think I own any of the products anymore. I think they literally just expired and I chucked them away. But like I said in the intro, we're just going to use all the products that we have laying around to recreate her look. I didn't want to spend loads and loads of money on this one video just to get all the products, so I hope you guys are okay with me just using what I have laying around, and I feel like it's also more realistic so you guys can recreate it too. Alright, so that's my foundation and concealer done. It then seems that Ariana goes straight into powdering pretty much right away so that all the products don't move and crease, which is definitely a good shout. I also do that. So for my powder, I'm going to be using this Vanilla Co powder. This is called the Prime Primer Finish Powder. Again, this is another Korean brand and I've been loving this powder. It literally makes my face look like it's photoshopped, but you do have to be careful with it because it is quite drying. So those extra steps of applying just like a hydrating sort of primer underneath is definitely necessary. So she then takes the powder on her beauty sponge and she pretty much goes full on underneath the eyes right here. It pains me to say it, but she's actually applied a very thick layer under her eyes. She's basically baking with it, so that's what we're gonna have to do. If you're new to this channel, I basically am not a very big fan of baking because I feel like for me, my under eyes just look so dry afterwards. And she actually drags that powder quite low down on her cheek as well, so we're gonna do that too. So looking back at the video, she only powders underneath her eyes. She doesn't do powder anywhere else on her face, and honestly that is a bad idea for me. I normally powder my chin, my forehead, and just like generally my T-zone. I do also like to go over like any spots that I've covered with a little bit of powder just to kind of lock that foundation and concealer into place, but she didn't do that, so we're gonna have to skip that step. Alright, so next up she goes in to do a little bit of her brows. Now obviously my brow shape is very different from Ariana's. Hers are very short, very just like straight, whereas I do have a little bit of an arch, so I'm just gonna try and brush them up and just basically make them like as straight and as high up as possible. But obviously you just do whatever you want to do with your brows, just shape them naturally as you would. I'm not about to shave half of my brow off just for this video to make it look like Ariana's brows, so we're just gonna fill these as I normally would. For this, I'm actually using a Primark brow pencil. This is the Brow Sketch and it's in the shade brown. I honestly feel like a lot of people sleep on just like Primark beauty in general because the products are so affordable, but they're actually pretty good, especially things like her brow products. I feel like you just can't go wrong with it and you don't have to spend so much money on one. I'm just gonna fill in both of my brows. Remember, brows are not twins, they're sisters, so if they don't match, it's okay. And in my case, one of my brows is more bushy than the other. and it's fine. I've accepted it. All right, so now that the brows are done, the next step she does is the contour. So of course, you best believe I'm gonna be using my Roxy X Revolution contour and highlighting palette. It is still available for sale if you guys wanna check it out on the revolutionbeauty.com website. So I'm just gonna be picking up a mixture of this shade and this shade very, very sparingly, and then we're just gonna be contouring in the same spots that she was. So she just applied a little bit to her cheekbones, which is what I normally do. As you can see, that just gives you like a really nice sort of chiseled look, but it's still very subtle and natural looking. She then also applies some to her forehead. She was saying how her hairline is sliding back as the years go by, and honestly, girl, I relate. I feel like I've got quite a big forehead too, so I definitely never miss the forehead contour, that's for sure. She then also does her nose contour in a really interesting way. She actually just takes her finger and she takes the product directly onto her finger, and what she calls this is her button nose trick. She goes across the top like this, and then she kind of pulls it down to the sides, and honestly, I have never ever done my contour like this, especially with my finger. And that is literally all she does. She doesn't even apply any to the bottom of like her nose tip, which is normally what I do. But of course, as we're following Ariana Grande's makeup, we're not gonna do anything that she wouldn't do. Oh my gosh, I actually really like that nose contour. It's very subtle and natural looking, but it definitely gives the definition to the tip. Do you know what? Maybe I will start doing my nose contour like this. What do you guys think? She then takes her middle finger, and I'm not trying to flip you guys off, but that's exactly what she does. She takes her middle finger, she puts it in a little bit of a highlighter, and then she full on just goes all over the tip of her nose, like to the sides and everything. It's definitely a lot more nose highlight than I'm normally used to. Like, I normally just put like the tiniest little dot and blend it out so it's really seamless, but she just went ham with it. So now that my under eye is all nice and crusty, it's time to take away the excess with the beauty sponge. So she basically just like flicks it off of her face, and I can already tell my eyes are gonna be so dry. Okay, they are dry as heck, and when I smile, they're definitely gonna crease, but on camera, they look incredible. Gosh, where are my designer under eye bags? They are gone, girl, they are gone. All right, now moving on, she's now doing her eyes, and I'm really excited for this because the eye look she does is kind of like a cat wing. It's like the signature Ariana Grande girly sort of eye look, so I'm looking forwards to it. So first up, she takes this eyeshadow right here. This is from a Bobbi Brown palette, which I definitely do not have, so I'm just grabbing what I have nearby, which is my Roxy X Revolution blush palette. It actually happens to have a very similar shade, which is this one, so I'm just gonna pick that up and use it on my eyes. And what she does is she literally just dusts that over into her outer corner. I literally never use brushes this big on my eyes. Like, this is most definitely a face brush, so this feels kind of weird, but it definitely distributes the product onto the eyes a lot quicker, so I mean, it makes sense. So after she's done that, she then takes an eye stick from her own brand to create this sort of like 60s cat eye kind of vibe. Again, I don't have the same eye stick that she has, not even remotely in the same shade, but what we are gonna do is we're gonna use something that probably a lot of people own, and that's the NYX white jumbo pencil. I'm gonna use this as a base for the actual cat eye, and then we're gonna cover it with like a really light, dusty kind of nude shade, which is definitely very similar to what she had on her eyes. So first up, I'm just gonna start laying down that stick all over the lid. We're gonna try and sort of wing it out like she did. So I'm just very roughly applying that to basically the whole eyelid and creating this sort of like cat wing shape. I'm then also picking up some of that product onto a flat brush, and we're actually just gonna go in with the brush to kind of smooth the texture over and just make sure it's nice and opaque. So we're actually gonna work one eye at a time. Before this manages to crease, I'm just gonna set it down using my Roxy X Revolution Ride or Die palette. I'm gonna be taking the shade Boo, and I'm loading that up on a really small like flat brush, and we're basically just gonna use that to set it down. This is also gonna obviously color that white pencil so it's not so white and stark. And I think shade-wise, this is now looking a lot more like Ariana Grande's look. So once one eye is done, I'm then gonna repeat the same thing to the other side. So those are both of the eye shapes done. Now the thing that's really strange about the way Ariana does her makeup is how much she jumps from one thing to another. Instead of just finishing the eyes, she's now jumping to the blush. So for her blush, she's using a really pink one, and I have one that's very similar in shade. This is the one from Flower Beauty, which I think is Drew Barrymore's brand. Is that right? How perfect is that shade? It's like the perfect cool toned kind of pink. So she's applying that to her cheekbones like you normally would. I actually was hoping that she was gonna apply it to her nose, but she didn't. What she does do is she kind of like applies it into her brow bone like this, which is kind of strange. I would never normally do that. Right, so after that little blush recess, she is now moving on to her eyes again. So what she was saying in the video is that she's really been enjoying a smoky kind of like eyeshadow liner rather than using a physical like eyeliner. It definitely creates a much softer kind of eye look, so I've been really liking that too. She's actually using a mixture of 2 brown shades. So once again, I'm bringing back my Ride or Die palette and I'm going to be taking the shade Cola and Cookie together. I'm using this really thin angled kind of brush and we're just going to be creating that sort of winged look. As you can see, I'm just literally joining that onto the edge of the sort of like white shape we've created on the lid. I'm going straight up and then I'm joining it onto my lash line. And afterwards it should look something like this. I'm then just gonna repeat the same thing to the other side. Alright, so now that the eyeliner is all finished, it's now time for mascara. Now obviously in the video, Ariana appears to be wearing some kind of like fake extensions on her lashes. So of course, my lashes are gonna need all the help they can get. I have already curled them and I'm just gonna be using the Maybelline Sky High Lash Sensational Mascara. I'm gonna have to be so careful to not touch the white of my eye makeup with this mascara because it'll ruin everything. I'm just gonna go a step further and just apply some false lashes just to the outer ends of my eyes. I'm just gonna apply these little demi lashes just to give me a little bit of a boost and make my eyes look a little bit more like Ariana's. Alright, so those are the lashes on. I feel like they've just really amped up the look. They've made my eyes look so like flirty and just really like elongated and exaggerated, so I like that. Now the next step that Ariana does is her lips. So for this she's using a lip stain. I'm going to be using this one from the brand called Peri Pera. I don't know if this is going to be exactly the same shade, but hers looks like it's just like a light pink and actually that looks pretty close. She just literally applies that directly onto her lips without any lip liner. She then also applies a little bit of like a gloss over the top, so I'm going to do that next. And you would think that this is the finished look, the lip is complete, but no, there's an extra step. Ariana did admit she feels like she's a bit weird for doing this, but after she's applied the lip stain and then the lip gloss over the top, she'll literally use a tissue to wipe it all off. She says she does this purely to give her lip a little bit more color before she applies her actual lip gloss over the top. So we're just gonna wipe this straight off now. It actually feels a little bit wasteful, to be honest. So as you can see, that's definitely stained my lip a little bit. This next step I am a little bit cheeky for doing because Ariana doesn't do this, but I do have to line my lips. I feel like I just look weird without it. I'm just using this lip liner from Peaches and Cream and I'm just gonna overline my top lip just a little bit. And now to finish off the lip, she then is using a really light pink kind of lip gloss. So I've got this one from L'Oreal Paris here. This is actually a plumping one. So I'm just gonna pop this all over the lip like she did. So again, you would think that this is the finished complete look, but wait, there's one more step. At the very end of the video, Ariana changed her mind and she did actually go in with a black kohl liner to kind of exaggerate that wing. Kind of wish she just left it alone because I feel like it looks perfectly fine like this, but obviously we are gonna replicate what she did. So I'm using the Tarte Double Take liner and we're just gonna basically go over that shadow line that we created earlier. And now, finally, that is the finished Ariana Grande makeup look. Honestly, I love how this turned out. Honestly, I really like some of the techniques that Ariana Grande implemented into this video, even though it was kind of chaotic in the terms of order. I feel like in the end, it all looks pretty put together. I really like that eye look. I think it's very fun and just really different for me. I normally would never do an eye look like this on my own accord. I actually think my favorite beauty secret that Ariana Grande has shared with us in this video was definitely the nose contour trick. It seems quite self-explanatory and just a basic trick, but I really like the fact that she only contoured above the tip of the nose rather than underneath. I feel like it looks way more natural for some reason. I really like it. So that is the finished look. Let me know what you guys think of it and what do you rate it out of 10. I want you guys to comment below. Do you guys think I did an okay job at replicating the look? I feel like it was quite challenging, especially because I didn't have the same products that she did, but in the end, I feel like it turned out okay. If you guys want to see any more videos like this in the future, whether it's following beauty secret videos from Vogue or any other makeup videos, then let me know in the comments below. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. Mwah.